Okay, next segment, guys. We'll talk about is the news, wrestling news this week. We have a few different things. Do you want to start us off in the news, Freed? What have you got for us?
Yeah, let's talk about the Undertaker. Undertaker's been in the news quite a bit this week because over last weekend the final episode of the Undertaker's Last Ride came out, and it kind of sounded like he's retired now. And a lot of people went to social media and yeah, basically, thank you, Taker. WWE released some posts on Twitter thanking the Undertaker for everything. Um, and if you watch the Undertaker's Last Ride, this 5 episode miniseries, you kind of get the impression that it's all building up to this retirement angle and kind of explaining why he's retiring and his journey to retirement, if you want to call it that. And let's just say this: we are not saying the Undertaker is retired officially. It's pro wrestling. Never say never in pro wrestling. And if you listen to the story, even the documentary tells the Undertaker is kind of portrayed as this guy who's addicted to this last match. He's chasing the dragon, as Triple H puts it. Um, he's never satisfied with his final match. But he says at the end of Last Ride, yeah, um, I could never imagine myself like stepping away from the ring, and I would always think I would have regrets doing it. But now, for the first time in my life, I think I can do this. So,
And you,
what are your thoughts?
I feel like that's came off the back of what they done with the cinematics. So we had that wonderful Boneyard match, and I was quite skeptical before the Boneyard match came out, but they managed to put something together for WrestleMania that actually made WrestleMania worthwhile watching, despite the fact that I had a less than enthusiastic opinion going into WrestleMania, but that blew me away. I love the Boneyard match. There's parts of me that feel like, so I've seen contradicting reports. I saw the social media like yourself saying thank you Taker and all the wrestlers thanking him for his service and all that jazz, and a lot of great messages from people who look up to the Undertaker on social media. But then and then 2 days later after that, I saw a news article saying the Undertaker saying he might come back for another match, which is just like, for the love of God, pick one. You're either in or you're out. Stop it. Just like, stop it. Like, if you go out on that Boneyard match, that is the best way to go out. Like, that made you look like that made you look like Superman. You came out beating up three guys. You retained that edge, that badassery, and you had
Yeah.
a stellar moment where he throws up his arm, and then the pyro goes off, and his logo is on the barn. That,
And
what more
he
do you
runs
need to
away.
go out?
Rides away on his motorcycle. Beautiful ending to the career. It's like they wanted to give him this picture perfect moment to retire, like they did with the Roman Reigns match. Like when he put off his coat, his hat, and put them down in the ring, and even kissed his wife Michelle McCool at ringside. Broke kayfabe essentially.
The first time I ever
Uh, uh, that was kind of the stage where everyone thought, okay, this is it, right? And yeah, that wasn't it for him. He did have a couple of matches, and I think it's fair to call all of his matches after that kind of disastrous. Maybe except the Cena one, but that was like really short.
squash match.
Yeah.
Um,
And like you said, then they gave him this Boneyard match at WrestleMania. The way it was shot, it could hide his age a little bit, the sluggishness of his movements maybe. I mean, maybe that's a bit too harsh, but it helped. It helped the presentation of his star, right?
well, it's the Paul Heyman approach, right? Accentuate the positives, hide the weaknesses, right? It's the Heyman classic right there, and it done what it
Yeah.
needed to do. It accentuated the positives and hid the weaknesses, and that makes total sense. Like that is how that is meant to go. Um, my fear is that he's never going to be happy, right? He's just never going to be happy, and if this continues, he's already put himself in jeopardy and almost got himself killed in that fight, or that was a fight, that match with Goldberg. Like when they went up to do that jackhammer, he came down so close to breaking his neck, and that was WWE doesn't let their talent ever leave the ring. I mean, there's a worrying report on a different article came out this week that Raw has no interest in building new stars, which makes me think that they're just going to keep relying on old classics. Like we saw Christian come back in recent weeks. We saw Ric Flair, who should not be anywhere near that building right now, come back. It's concerning. It's very concerning. I don't like it.
Taker has always been the kind of guy, if Vince needs me, I will be there for him.
And Vince has got too comfortable doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, he has. And like in the last ride, we see him at WrestleMania. Which WrestleMania was it? Where he didn't wrestle? Was it last year? 2 years ago.
Didn't wrestle?
Yeah, one WrestleMania he missed. Maybe it was 2 years ago. Doesn't really matter. He set out this one. He was on Raw the night after, but he set out on this WrestleMania, and he's backstage, and he talked, and you see it in his face. Like he was happy all day long, but then he's backstage there, and he's not on the card, and he doesn't really matter. He's really sad. He has this really sad look in his eye. He's not really a part of this, and it's kind of his thing. WrestleMania. He's always been a part of WrestleMania. And that's when he wanted to come back to do a couple of more matches, and then he had a couple of horrible matches on top of that. And what I'm getting is, I think next year's WrestleMania will be kind of the stress test for the Undertaker retirement. If he is still retired then and can be there backstage without coming back, he might have done it.
That's a big if, though. It's a big if. I think the biggest telling point of that there is if we see crowds at a WrestleMania next year, because we don't know what's going to happen in the next year. We don't know how the pandemic is going